Today we're going to review solving quadratic equations by completing the square. It's basically a four-step process. Step one, we're going to have to isolate the variables, that's the x's and x squareds on the left, and the constant, that's that 9 on the right. Then we're going to add a value to both sides so that we create a perfect square trinomial on the left and a constant on the right. Step 3, we are going to factor the left side, the perfect square trinomial, and then we're going to simplify the constant on the right. Step 4, we are going to solve by taking the square root and simply solving two very small equations to find the two answers for this quadratic equation. Let's start off by identifying its components. It's this quadratic equation, x squared plus 10x plus 9. It's in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a is 1. Solving using quadratic equations by completing the square will not work unless your a value is 1. So let's go ahead and start by isolating the variables on the left and the constant on the right. We're going to do that by subtracting 9 from both sides. And when I do that, those will cancel, and then I'm left with this problem, x squared plus 10x plus something we're going to add in a minute is equal to negative 9 plus something we're going to add in a minute. This is what we're looking to get right here to do step 2. We're going to add something in those two open areas. And what we're going to do is we are going to add the b value, which is 10. We're going to add the b value divided by 2. And then we're going to take that answer and square it. So in this case, the b value is 10. 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. And then we're going to 5 and we're going to square it. So 5 squared is 25. I'm going to add 25 to both sides. That gives me x squared plus 10x plus 25 is equal to negative 9 plus 25. I've added that value to both sides of the equation. That creates a perfect square trinomial, which you can review in one of the other videos. And when I simplify that, I'm going to have a constant number on the right. Factoring perfect square trinomials are very simple. It's the letter, the first operation of positive, and half the b value. That entire thing put in parentheses and squared. And simplifying the right, I'm going to get this constant of positive 16. At this point, I'm able to take the square root of both sides. In step 4, the square root of both sides will give me, let's go ahead and write the equation one more time. The square root of both sides, when I take the square root of the left, the square and the square root cancel, and that gives me x plus 5 on the left. When I take the square root of the right, I get the positive or negative answer to the square root of 16, which is 4. That gives me two equations. X plus 5 equals positive 4, and x plus 5 equals negative 4. I simply need to solve those two equations. Let's go ahead and write them. X plus 5 is equal to negative 4. We're going to solve those by adding 5 to by subtracting 5 from both sides. Those are going to cancel, and I find that x for the first side is equal to negative 1. And then when I subtract 5 from this side and 5 from this side for the other value, those will cancel, and I get x is equal to negative 9. My answer is reported as x equals a set of numbers. X is equal to, and there's the brace, negative 9 comma negative 1. And that would be my answer to this quadratic equation. I can check it by plugging negative 1 and negative 9 into that equation, and I'll see that when I do, I get a 0 on the left and a 0 on the right. I hope that helps. Please review these steps at any time in this video and check back in class to make sure that you've gotten all your work correctly done for the other answer.